One of the fastest facts in terms of how I improved very quickly was working with the best people in the world in terms of coaching.
Yeah.
And that is how you take yourself from where you are now to where you want to be without cutting all the bullshit out.
What's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. Well, welcome to Canada. I know you're visiting. You're a partial immigrant. So what's going on, man?
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to say, firstly, to all Canadians, I have huge love for all of you. Like, people in Canada are so nice compared to everywhere else in the world. Like, I drove down the street here yesterday, and there was a guy playing with his kids, and I don't know who he is, and he's just like waving at me. And I was like, "This is awesome. People are just so friendly."
Yeah, they make time. And Toronto's like the bitchiest city of Canada, and you're getting nice people. So that says something.
100%.
Anyways, why don't you just give a little 411 on who you are and what you do? Because it's inspiring as fuck.
Awesome, appreciate that. So my name is Charlie Johnson. I run the largest transformation company in Europe. So we basically help guys, women get in the best shape as possible from 30 to 50 and older, with basically like speed and certainty in terms of removing the crap and the fluff and just trying to be as efficient as possible. Because I know you're exactly the same as me in terms of I don't like doing things if it's not an actual reason for it. I'd just rather just do things that get actual results. So we use a very streamlined process of removing all the crap and being time efficient. Our goal at CJ Coaching is to transform 100,000 people by 2030. So we're hammering towards that every single day and working as hard as we can. Recently got listed in Forbes top 3 coaches in the world. That's pretty cool. And I have recently moved from the UK to Dubai, and I'm now floating around Canada, even though I'm now a Dubai resident. So there we go. That's the long and the short of it.
That's awesome, man. Well, I remember joining, we're in a mastermind together. I remember joining, you posted your win of November of 2020, and I just joined. And I was like, that's possible. And then November, a year later, I was in that same spot. And so I want to just thank you for like just showing me what's possible, because you don't know what you don't know until you're exposed to people who are kicking ass. So that's awesome. And what's this deal with like Chris Spearman's in Dubai, you're in Dubai, who like everyone's just floating there? It's like zero tax. Like what's the deal?
So if you think of like Disneyland for adults where you don't pay tax, it's basically like that. So obviously all the issues there's been in Europe with COVID restrictions and problems and oppressive governments, basically everyone suddenly realized like, why on earth are we here? And then everyone's just gone to the Middle East, to Dubai, where it's been pretty much open the whole time. It's super easy to do business. It's a very capitalist place. They're very easygoing with things. In my opinion, it's probably the greatest place in the world to live. And they've like, this is what I like. Like, I'm very bold in terms of statements. Like I said in this beginning that came on, like, my goal is I want to transform 100,000 people by 2030. If I don't do it, I look like a bit of a dick, but at least I'll put it out there. I think I see their goal that they said is on like billboards in Dubai. It's like, we want to make this the greatest city to live in by 2040. Like, for me, that is something I want to be a part of. And I can see how quickly that's developing. And like the people you meet, the networks, people there, like, you are a product of your environment and who you associate with and who you speak with. And that will make you only stronger and better. And I think it's very much probably the same as the listeners to your podcast. Like, if you want to be successful in all areas of your life, the information you absorb from listening to podcasts like this, the people you see on a daily basis, the buildings you surround yourself with, like Dubai skyline's insane. Like, these all rub off on you to make you think bigger and become greater, if that makes sense.
That's it, man. Like, the best way to change your habits is to change your habitat.
So control your environment.
Exactly. And you can control that, right? Cool, man. So I know you have a similar story to me. What we call at Emperform is we help clients go from survival mode to thrive mode. And so 10 years ago, I was in survival mode, abusing drugs, fat, out of shape, depressed, all that kind of stuff. And I know you had a not necessarily with the alcohol and stuff like that, but like out of shape at one point. And now you are super in shape and super confident with your body. So, how is that journey transferred into your business, into your life, into everything?
The one thing I'd say is it's like everyone will have a breaking point moment. So anyone who's like with drug addiction, with anyone with marriages, you'll get to the point where like enough is enough and snap, and like you'll make a decision to either like work with me, join a program and take radical action. And the beauty of this is when you take radical action and you start to see progression and you start to see what's possible. Like you said earlier, when you saw what I'd posted in the business mastermind. Like, firstly, for me, first time I ever really got in shape, I was like, holy shit, I can do this. I did a photo shoot and I was like terrified. I looked pretty like a scared little schoolgirl. I looked pretty good, but I was like petrified inside. I'm naturally a very introvert, quiet person. So I've almost created these extrovert characteristics to be able to like talk to other people and become more confident. So I'm actually very shy. But this has come about from transforming my physique and realizing that all of these things that we put on us ourselves are almost like putting ourselves in a jail of like four walls of like, I cannot do this. I cannot be in shape. I am bad at maths. Like, people need to be very aware of the language they use about themselves. And I think that's one of the things is when you're not in great health and you're not in great shape, that will hold you back with every aspect of your life, like business, family, and obviously also your fitness. And I think as soon as you start to see progression in that area of your life, which you have complete control over, because you can control exactly what you eat, you can control what you do in terms of workouts or activity. Like, once you control that and you see progression in that, it will carry over into other areas of your lives. And this is why I think fitness is so beautiful as a tool to improve everything you do, is because you have control. Whereas like you, me, and anyone listening to this who's a business owner, COVID happened. Try and business plan around that. Like, you can't control what you can't control, but you can control if you lose weight, you put weight on. If you're in shape, if you're not in shape, that's your unconscious choice. I think when people understand that and then they see that that's like what can be possible with that, it opens up opportunities with everything else they do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. The wide horizon of being able to actually see around corners and know what's actually possible. Because you're right, like, we're all governed by limiting beliefs. If you talk to yourself, like, watch yourself talk, watch the words you use, because they become you, right? Your words are developed from your thoughts. That's your identity. So be mindful of your words. You control them as well, including eating, sleeping, breathing, all that stuff, right?
And here's a thought for your listeners, and I want everyone to think about this right now, is that your thoughts aren't actually really your own thoughts. They're the perceptions of the things you see and hear. Because when you only think about things because you read it or you see it on social media or someone says it to you. So reality is that these things aren't really your own thoughts in the first place. It's the way you perceive them, if that makes sense, which you have control over.
Very philosophical and mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. And I can't agree with that more. If you walk into a room and you're fit and you're confident, you have good posture, you have good breathing, you have good energy, like, life is just different.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So what does confidence mean to you? Like, I feel like when people come into our programs, we're really just selling them confidence in a bottle. That's what every guy wants, right? Like, be able to take their shirt off at the beach, feel confident, feel alpha, feel strong, feel capable, have their wife look at them a certain way. You can't, I've never met someone who doesn't want these things.
I'd go one step further than that. What does every human being in the world want? They want happiness.
True.
And can you be happy and not be confident? I would debatably say no, because the reality is, if you're not confident, there's some error in your life, you're not happy, because there's something that's making you maybe feel insecure and doubtful, and you're not going to be able to have an abundant mindset where you are going to be confident. And one of the things that I think is very true in life is that as you progress to greater things in terms of your physique, your business, anyone who's listening to this is wealthy, you have exactly the same problems and same inferiority complexes, because you just compare yourself to other people who are great or great in another field. You're like, why can't I play football like Cristiano Ronaldo, for example? Like, you would find another way to make yourself feel bad. I think that's one of the things that's very powerful to be aware of. But confidence is really a tool that we can build into ourselves with positive, by the people we surround ourselves with, like the environment. Like me moving to Dubai was a big one because of the weather, and that's ridiculous. But like sunshine, super positive people, siblings and stuff.
It matters, man. I'm in Vancouver now and it's raining. I'm like, like, it matters.
It has an effect. And if you think of that, the compounding effect of that every single day for days and weeks and months and years, even if it's a 0.5% difference over 10 years, how much does that add up in terms of your decision making and like your progress throughout life? So trying to make yourself happier and then more confident as like a synergistic relationship is very important. And that's why, in particular, if you're like a leader in terms of a business or you're head of the household as a father, like people are like, oh, I'm too busy, I can't work out, I can't look after myself. What I want everyone to think about in this is that you have to be selfish to be selfless. So you have to put yourself first and lead by example and become the greatest version of you. So then you can help everyone else around you by helping them rise up to your level rather than dumbing yourself down to their level, which is, I think, what happens a lot and respectively in society now. I think with like Vince was telling me earlier that his brother's a school teacher and that they're not allowed to give F grades on reports now because kids get upset but like how we have to like set the bar higher for people rather than trying to bring it down for everyone, if that makes sense.
No, your standards are everything. Like the great Anthony Roberts, right? You want to raise your life, you raise your standards. And I completely agree. Like, how are you supposed to take care of business? How are you supposed to take care of your family if you can't take care of yourself? Like, it's just self-respect. And unfortunately, like, I got asked, like, how do you define health? And I said, find a North American and do the exact opposite of what they're doing all the time. Because it is what it is. Don't eat what they're eating. If they're sitting on the couch, go for walks. It's just an easy comparison, right?
I sometimes worry that when I first came here like a week or two ago, I probably looked like a bit of a dick because I was like taking photos of things and I was like, why are people eating? Like, it was like a sandwich. It was like bigger than me. They're like, I went to eat somewhere, like everywhere, restaurant I went to, the food is massively oversalted, so I feel really crap. Like, these things are so ingrained into culture that people are being set up to fail in some respects. I remember first I went to Texas, I went to Houston. I remember going into a Walmart and I remember asking, like, where's the fresh food? And she looked at me like I was an alien. She was like, we don't sell that here. We've only got like crisps and snacks and Diet Coke and Diet like Pepsi and stuff. I was like, this is a grocery store, right? She was like, yeah, we don't sell that. I was like, okay, I understand now.
Yeah, it's just different, man. And we talked about that at the beginning. It's like your habitat. I'm in North Vancouver. Within 8 minutes of walking, there's a Whole Foods. Within 8 minutes of walking, there's a gym. Within 4 minutes, I can hike with my dog in the mountains. Like, these were all important for me when I moved here because they give me joy and happiness. We talked about, you pick your, maybe you're stuck in a certain job, but like I was too. I think Charlie probably was.
So was I. I was like a real estate agent from the age of 21 to 28, I think, or 29.
Wow. And yeah, so let's talk about that. So you were doing not necessarily what you love, but something that provided and paid the bills, and it was what it was. And then you found the light. So you got involved with coaching programs pretty early, right?
Yeah. So I've always been a product of coaching with everything I do. So in terms of my own physical, like, I've had quite a few people ask me recently, like, how have you got so much knowledge in training, nutrition, and how much time do you put into learning? So I think this is a good topic to talk about. And I said to the guys, like, I have no idea because I just love what I do and this is my passion. So I just immerse myself and become obsessed with becoming better at training, improving my physique, and then I built a business off that because this is what I enjoy doing, and that came side and side. But one of the fastest facts in terms of how I improved very quickly was working with the best people in the world in terms of coaching. Yeah. And that is how you take yourself from where you are now to where you want to be without cutting all the bullshit out, like I said at the beginning, because I'm a very results-driven person. I am inherent, like there's a saying, like, as if find a lazy person to do something because I find a very efficient way to do it, and I'm that lazy person. It's like I want to go from A to B in like straight line as possible, rather than some people just want to make life hard for themselves. So I think it's very important that people understand that, and the fastest way for you to progress with your fitness and also your business life and personal life is coaching. So from a physical aspect, I've always had coaching in that, and from a business aspect, when I cottoned on to my passion for fitness, I could turn into like a side hustle when I was working my real estate job. The first thing I could do when I could afford it was start to get professional advice and coaching in terms of like, okay, I'm obviously gifted at this and there's a demand for it. Yeah. How do I take this to the next level? Because instead of me spending 6 to 12 months working out how can I set up a website, I'll just pay someone to teach me how to do it. And I know tomorrow. And that process never stops. Like, so as you scale the mountain, you just get better and better people to teach you more specific things. So I still have people coaching me for training and nutrition. I just spent $50,000 to join another mastermind, like, because I need the skill sets I have now aren't going to take me to where I need to be to transform 100,000 people. So I need to keep learning. Where I think this is where too many guys, in particular, if you're listening to this, like, oh, I've been doing chest on Monday for 10 years and this is what I do and it works for me. It's like, okay, great. Well, why are we having this conversation then? Like when people are asking for help, do you know what I mean? Like
if it was working, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, but be open-minded. That's the key.
Oh, we should train chest twice a week. So you actually get 100 times the volume a year instead of just 50. Oh, how about that? Yeah. No, I mean, even like growing up, like, how do I get better at tennis? I played with older players. You got to move at the pace you want to move. And fortunately, you can find coaches and people that you can shadow that are just going to move faster. And when you start to move faster, you get results in anything in life. I couldn't be more of a product of coaching. Even at the start of COVID, all revenue stopped. I was in-person trainer, all gyms closed, whatever. I took $50,000, 25 on a Visa line and a line of credit, and I invested in the business and coaching because it's something that returns. Like the best ROI is yourself. Yeah.
So I'll talk about something very personal quickly. So I had a real problem in January. I ended up going through a divorce, and so in 3 days I got divorced, had to clear out my house, and the day after that I had my Instagram account disabled with like 500,000 followers. So I was like, this is fun, like this is a challenge. And
one of those weeks,
yeah, I was like, when shit hits the fan. And so anyone who's listening to this is going for something like this now. There's a saying that I really like, and it's I'm gonna hash this now. Basically, it talks about when it's raining, you need to learn to dance in the rain, not wait for the storm to pass. So like you just need to like learn to just deal with it and realize things happen to you, not for you, which is really, really important. But and this is one of those things in life, it's just being aware that these big things are going to happen to you. You're going to have challenges thrown your way. And it's just how you overcome those things that can help take you forward. But what you did there with, obviously you had the challenge of COVID, is you backed yourself. You took a risk, you invested in yourself to become better. But what that experience taught me was that the greatest asset I have and the biggest thing I have, if everything is taken away from me, every materialistic thing I have, my social media accounts, I still have myself, my brain, the knowledge I have, the experience I have, the network and connections I have.
Yeah.
And that's me becoming the biggest asset I have is myself. And it's the same for you. And that's why anyone listening to this, the most important thing you can think about is like, how can you become the greatest version of you? Because that's how you become your own asset that no one can take from you.
Yeah. And it only exponentially grows. The more you put in is the more you get out.
100%.
I had one of those in August of 2018. The girl I thought I was going to marry broke up with me out of nowhere. The cat I got for my 10th birthday died. And then my cousin overdosed and died in the hospital on drugs and alcohol. So like you talk about things happening in threes, and I'm
say that.
Such a sad and like I was fucked up for a long time. But I'm so grateful that happened because that pushed me into the personal development. That really pushed me with my physical development. But like you said, like life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And yeah, we're in a much better place. But guys, the risk isn't doing it. The risk is not doing it.
And that's this is something that's the truest thing in the world. And it's like people need to understand, and if you listen to this, you need to understand, not making a decision is making a decision. So sitting on your ass doing nothing, you are consciously making a decision to kick the can down the road, let your health erode, let your longevity go down the toilet. And the longer you put this off, the more difficult the problem is going to be to try and deal with. And it's the same thing in terms of like pressure ascension itself, in terms of like you feel pressure to get in shape, for example, is just you having anxiety about not dealing with the problems you need to deal with and then putting them off.
Yeah. Oftentimes the best form of transformation is just taking out the negative. It's not actually taking more action, it's just removing from your life.
Well, and just dealing with it and closing the loop as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Let's get some plugs. Where can people find you?
So the main platforms, I do quite a bit of social media. I check me out on Instagram, is at Charlie Johnson Fitness. I have my own podcast, which is The Shredded Show. You can type in www.shreddedshow.com, that will come up. I've got LinkedIn, my YouTube channel. We're pumping content out, like 4 videos a week. So that's Charlie Johnson Fitness. Also got TikTok, Charlie Johnson Fitness. And then if you want, I've got a free abs training guide as well, which is freeabsguide.com. So there's a free abs training course and stuff on there if anyone wants a copy of that.
Personal media platform 101.
It's like Death Star of fitness as well. That was like, I like gimmicky things. That's the way I think about it.
The Death Star, man, you label it, right? We talk about language. Like if you roll, you're on a mission for 100,000 transformations. The Death Stars is the dark side's what's going to do it, right?
Yeah. Well, if I'm big into books as well. It's a good tip for anyone. So if you haven't listened to I'll give 2 different types of books. Tim Grosvenor's Relentless and Winning. He talks about people's dark sides in terms of like that's what makes you successful and driven.
Yeah.
And then 2 other books in terms of like habits, which are awesome, which I recommend to all my clients, are Atomic Habits by James Clear, which you've probably read, and The Slight Edge by a guy called Jeff Olson. If you read those 4 books, they will change your life and you'll be successful.
As long as you implement them.
Execution is key.
That's it, man. Well, appreciate you so much, and enjoy Canada, and I'll see you in Tennessee soon.
Yeah, pleasure, Rob. Thank you so much.